is the revolution, the people's revolution. This is the revolution. I want to hear everybody sing.
Thank you very much, Councillor Calvin Sicharan, co-chair of tonight's Monday night virtual platform, political leader of the United National Congress, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, who led a government that ensured that there was people-centered development and improved the standard of living of every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago for 5 years. My brothers and sisters of the United National Congress on all or at all levels of our great party, those of you who are locked on the respective social media platforms, I want to tell you here tonight that in 7+ years, Trinidad and Tobago has collapsed under Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley and the PNM. They have destroyed Trinidad and Tobago. There is a crisis of leadership in this country. And where we are today, there is no hope for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And for the last 7 years plus, the Prime Minister, we know that he has been disrespectful, the fella classless, he vulgar, he disrespectful to every woman in Trinidad and Tobago, and he has been talking utter nonsense and stupidity. And only yesterday, that stupidity and that low-level thinking continued. And it shows and it demonstrated for me how disconnected, how contemptuous, how arrogant they continue to be to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We saw during the budget debate, the MP for Lopino Bonaire West told you that to deal with the high cost of living, you must no longer eat macaroni pie and ham. Then the MP for Port of Spain South, Keith Scotland, told you to deal with high food prices and the increase in fuel costs, that you must purchase a bicycle to ride to school, to go to work, sorry, and also you must purchase a coal pot to deal with the escalation in cost of living. And then Roaming Shamfa told you that you must continue to sacrifice, my brothers and sisters. Only yesterday, the Prime Minister went down to some meeting in San Fernando seeking to campaign to become the political leader of the party again. And he told you that roadworks when rain stops. So I want to ask Rowley tonight, the Prime Minister, has rain been falling for the last 7+ years? And that is why there had been a catastrophic collapse of the infrastructure throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago. Listen to Rowley, and I'm quoting from an article written by Suan Wewo. When the rain stops, citizens should expect to see massive roadworks taking place throughout the country. As soon as the rain stops falling, you will see significant activity with respect to road reinstatement, he said. And listen to this gentleman. Listen to his disconnect. Listen to his nonsensical words. Dr. Rowley said, and I quote, "There are people who in the dry season, in South in particular," listen to him, in South in particular, they go and build all about, where in the rainy season, those are the areas where there is overgoing where there's overflow is going to go. And we have not abandoned these situations. I want to tell Rowley tonight that there have been flooding in Diego Martin West. There is flooding in Diego Martin Central. There is flooding in Diego Martin Northeast. There is infrastructural collapse and flooding in Port of Spain South, Lavantil West, Lopino Bonnet West, Aruca Maloney, and in all the constituencies controlled to by the United National Congress. That is the level of disconnect. The fella don't even know that there's flooding in the constituency that he has led for the last 30 years in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. But I want you to listen more, importantly, Trinidad and Tobago, because in between 2016 and going into 2023, the Ministry of Works has spent $23.876 billion as it relates to allocations, budget after budget. Rohan Sinanan and Keith Rowley tell us where the money gone and why has the infrastructure collapsed throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago. And in addition to $23.876 billion being spent by the Ministry of Works and Transport, hear this. The government of Trinidad and Tobago borrowed $160 million to deal with extensive financing to deal with drainage works in Port of Spain, Caroni, Caparo, South Oropouche, and North Oropouche. And I want to quote also that on the 27th of July 2021, the Latin American Bank for Development, this bank that is referred to as CAF, lent Trinidad and Tobago $175 million to modernize the transportation infrastructure. And on the 14th of August 2019, I'm quoting from the Latin American Development Bank again. They lent Trinidad and Tobago US $200 million for works to be carried out in terms of comprehensive development, maintenance, and management and planning to be carried out by the Ministry of Works and Transport. And listen again, in March of 2020, Trinidad and Tobago received a grant of $3.37 million towards the creation of a flood management master plan. And in addition to this, over the last 7 years, $15.45 billion have been spent by the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government. So why, after all this, the infrastructure continues to collapse on the Mosquito Creek portion of the highway to Point 14? Why the roof in the Red House now has collapsed after $441 million was spent on the Red House refurbishment? And the Prime Minister told us that it was monies well spent, and Camille Robinson Regis all over the Parliament saying that we must be thankful for shoddy work. That is what she was telling Trinidad and Tobago, my brothers and sisters. And tonight, I want to ask Rohan Sinanan, what is the real agenda in terms of the delivery of goods and services to the taxpaying public of Trinidad and Tobago? Why has there been this collapse? Why has there been this substandard work and shoddy work that taxpayers are spending money year after year, and we cannot get our roads, our bridges, our drainage, our sluice gates right throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago. And I want you to listen to Rohan Sinanan tonight before I go on, and I call upon you to play that clip and listen to Rohan Sinanan in Sandy Grande.
By the way, see that box in front of you there? That is what $1 million look like if you put it in a carrot case. That is $1 million. It pulls a carrot case, $1 million. On that bridge, we saved $2 million. So on that bridge, what is $2 million different? On that bridge alone, we saved $2 million. That amount of money, if you pile it up in $100 bills, right? And that $2 million, they're complaining about we paving road all over the place in Grande. That $2 million went to pave the road. That $2 million. Right?
You see why Rohan Sinanan know how many $100 does fit in a carrot case. But I want to ask Rohan Sinanan tonight, what is his real agenda? Is the government encouraging contractors to do shoddy work and substandard work? Are they asking because I want to know? One of their own told us, Karen Nunes Teixeira told us that up till today it has cost $50 million to refurbish Balize House as it stands. And will it cost $100 million to refurbish Balize House? We want to know. And Rohan Sinanan knows how much money does fit in a carrot box. And tonight I want to ask him, because he said that Balize House is being refurbished because of the goodwill of donors. How many donors and how many carrot cases have gone to Balize House? Karen Nunes Teixeira told us of the cost. I did not come up with that cost here tonight. But more importantly, are contractors being encouraged to do shoddy work? And are they being called upon to make donations to Balize House in terms of the refurbishment? And tonight, again, I seize the opportunity. Acting Commissioner of Police, you must display the testicular fortitude that is needed in the fight against white-collar crime. And we call upon you to put caution tape, cordon off Balize House, and have it declared a crime scene, and launch an immediate investigation and follow the money as it relates to how many donations have gone into Balize House, my brothers and sisters. And more importantly too, it have an next one who now come back on the scene in recent times. Jennifer Schillingberger Batiste Primus. She suddenly she's suddenly back on the scene. She fighting, contesting the post of Labor Relations Officer in the internal elections. And she was fired by Rowley, you know, rejected by Rowley, rejected by the PNM, and she's suddenly back on the scene. And you know what she's seeking? Redemption for the PNM and Rowley and their incompetence and their sins for the last 7 years. She said that the PNM must be forgiven. I want to tell you here tonight that there must be no redemption for the PNM. They must be rejected throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago, my brothers and sisters. And why she want forgiveness for the PNM? They have taken away your right to send a message to the PNM in terms of postponing the general elections. They have gone against the rule of law and the will of the people. Must we forgive the PNM for that? Tonight, Today, we heard of that tape that was played in the Commission of Inquiry. We heard the anguish, we heard the cries, we heard the pain and suffering of these 4 divers who died and who languished for 4 days and more in the pipeline. My brothers and sisters at Paria, Jennifer Baptiste Primus want us to forgive the PNM when we know that the inaction of Paria that led to the death of these divers. Must we cover up the inaction and the incompetence of the Newman George-led board, my brothers and sisters? Must we forgive the PNM for collapsing, or must we forgive the Prime Minister for interrupting and intercepting the merit list and leading to the collapse of the Police Service Commission? Therefore, my brothers and sisters, I want to tell you here tonight that the PNM and Rowley have sinned for the last 7 years, and the wages of sin is political debt. And whenever the elections are called, my brothers and sisters, the solution to govern Trinidad and Tobago and to restore Trinidad and Tobago to good governance is the leadership of Kamla Prasad Bisasa and the United National Congress. Long live our party, long live our political leader, and long live the rank and file. Long live the rank and file, my brothers and sisters. But before I leave this platform here tonight, I want to seize the opportunity and continue the trend, continue the trajectory, and tell you why we must not forgive them and why the wages of political sin must be political debt.